Yes Boss, presented by Anagha Saju.
Dr. Bose, you have been holding extensive discussions all over India with the view of finding ways of bringing them to the central stage of social life in post-COVID India. Many artists say that their real worth is undermined by wily art critics. What is your comment on this?
From the high security Louvre Museum in Paris, they made 6 copies and sold them as the original to gullible billionaires, each of them paying as much as 150 million rupees for it. But the fraudsters' plan went awry when their professional ally took away the original painting. When he tried to sell it, however, he fell into the hands of the police. Mona Lisa returned to the Louvre, where it is still on display with added electronic security surveillance. Who is the arbitrator who can assess the value of an artwork? Critics claim and try to make others believe that they have the ability and the right to assess the real worth of an art. They make their assumptions, and it is normally based on these assumptions that the scale of art's worth tilt this way or that in course of time. Talented artists often get kicked down to the dustbins of neglect by the force of the changing modes of trends and groupings within the art world. Only those who are eulogized by the critics get on to the high pedestals of fame and fortune and make a living. Many are forced to copy the great masters, knowingly surrendering their individuality and innate worth as artists, turning themselves into forgers. When the self-proclaimed jurists of the art world, that is the critics, make their assumptions and pronounce their judgments, the sublime becomes ridiculous and the mediocre becomes magnificent. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. This is something that all art lovers have to ponder over, because this is a universal phenomenon. I remember in Madrid, where I happened to be there as Speaker of the Global Energy Parliament, which was holding its session there, the Indian ambassador told me that a world-renowned surrealist painter, Salvador Dali, has been faked. Yes, his friend who faked the master was convicted by a Spanish court and sentenced to pay a compensation of rupees 65 million for committing a fraud in one of Dali's paintings. Adulteration of art is not something which started yesterday or today. It is almost as ancient as art itself. Unbelievable it may seem, the immortal artist Michelangelo himself was guilty of artistic fraud. See what he did once to make money when he was not yet famous and rich. He made a good sculpture of Cupid, soiled it and buried it for some time. He later unearthed it and sold it off as an ancient piece of art to a gullible cardinal of Rome. There have been many instances in the past of people cleverly copying celebrated paintings and selling them as exorbitant prices. The inimitable painting Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci had been copied umpteen times and sold as the original. The fraud was masterminded by 2 well-known artists of Italy. Their modus operandi was to make excellent and exact copy of the painting. They would then cleverly place their fake behind the original. Their next step was to persuade a super rich art collector into believing that they would steal the original painting from the gallery. They would even make the prospective buyer to go to the gallery and put his thumb impression at the back of the painting for the purpose of later identification. Since a fake had already been placed behind the original, the thumb impression would naturally be at the back of the fake painting. The fraudsters would then take their fake from the gallery and present it to the billionaire to claim their booty. It would be some time before he would realize that what he had acquired was a fake and not the original. Emboldened by the success, the fraudsters asked themselves, why not steal the original painting itself instead of going through the rigmarole of placing fakes in the gallery and then stealing it? They enlisted the service of a professional thief to put to practice their grand design. The trio meticulously implemented their plan.
Dr. Bose, don't you see that genuine artists lose their brilliant career on account of enforced faking?
It is not very rare to find fake artists who go to jail emerging in later life as great sought-after artists themselves. England's Tom Keating, I repeat, Tom Keating, is one such. In his early days, when he struggled to make a living, he used to supply some private galleries copies of great masterpieces of well-known artists. The remuneration he got then was £5 per painting. One day he found that the paintings that fetched him £5 a piece were sold by the gallery owner for £500 each. He felt cheated and started selling the fakes himself. Once he read a book on the famous British painter Samuel Palmer. He then saw many of the paintings of Palmer, studied them. One day, he started painting in his studio. He felt that the artistic life force of Palmer was being channelized through him. What he painted hence were pictures that excelled Palmer's originals. In some of them, he even put Palmer's signature. Art lovers came forward to buy them at great prices. Ultimately, the truth came out and he was caught and imprisoned. But fortunately, his fame as a talented artist spread far and wide. When he came out, art galleries started vying with each other to buy his paintings at great prices. It was a Keating style that a young American painter, David Stein, followed. He made money copying paintings by the famous and was caught unexpectedly. He had sold to a New York gallery 2 fakes of Chagall. It was by chance that Chagall, who visited New York at that time, was befriended by a gallery owner who proudly informed him that his gallery had 2 of the paintings of Chagall. Chagall was not amused when he saw the paintings. They were excellent fakes. He promptly notified authorities and the forger, Stein, was arrested and the same night. After he came out of prison, Stein started selling his works as his own at a very high price. He was rehabilitated by the art lovers, though he was let down by the art critics. Now, in the Cleveland Museum in the United States, there is an invaluable piece of sculpture, Madonna and Son, believed to have been made in Italy in the 13th century. It was by chance that the gallery owners came to know that it was a fake by an Italian artist named Alceo da Siena. When the sculpture was x-rayed, iron nails of recent make were seen inside. They decided to remove the fake and exhibit in its place a genuine piece of original sculpture. Spending a whopping amount, they installed a beautiful marble sculpture of goddess Athena. Not much later, they realized this too was a fake by the same fake artist, da Siena.
As the one-man expert commission of the Labour Advisory Board of the Government of India, you have been taking the initiative to protect the rights of artists. What are the proposals that you have in mind to ensure the protection of artists from carping critics and also from Western interest which vitiate the art world?
Artists are exploited. This has to be stopped. There should be enabling legislation for this purpose. Not only legislation, there should be tribunals to settle disputes and give justice to the exploited artists. This will be there in the form of suitable recommendations in my report.
Radio Express.
To receive Radio Express English news and English programs in your WhatsApp, please send a WhatsApp message English programs to 90727 95547 and please subscribe to our YouTube channel Radio Express. Thank you.